You mentioned your mother before. How much involvement has your family had with your cosplaying or interest in the manga and convention scene?
My mom's always been excited about it, but she's never really, well, she's never attended a convention officially, but when she used to come pick me up from cons when I was younger, she would always stay for like 3 extra hours to walk around and look at the costumes, and she always enjoyed it, so she's always been really excited and really eager to help. And when I was in middle school and high school, I would say, okay, I want to do this costume, but I don't want to let you do all of it, so let me figure it out. So she gave me some of the basic tools, like if I want to make, you know, a specific pair of shorts and vest, but I can't find a pattern, she showed me how I can learn to modify patterns, and she explained to me, you know, how certain stitches work, you know, that for women you need to put darts, you know, up the side to make it fit your chest properly, how to take clothing in, and that was another thing, is I would modify my own personal clothing as well. So she kind of gave me those tools, because she was always sewing when she was younger too. And then, but over the past year or so, it's been, I'll get her advice on things, but for the most part, I do it all myself now. Okay. So, because like, she could help me, it's just I want to be independent in my costume making now, so I can, A, be more proud of it, and B, also be able to say, hey, yes, I did it all on my own, you know, and if, you know, if you need help with yours, I can give advice, and if you have money, I can take a commission maybe. So, you know, it's been a good progression over time, and I'm very lucky to have had a mom who was so supportive. My dad was always kind of like, oh, that's cool. He didn't hate it, but he just was kind of like, that's cool that you do art things. He's technology, computers and stuff, which I am too, but he just had no input really for the artistic stuff. But Mom was very supportive, and I'm always thankful for that.
How much of your inspiration comes from fantasy in general, or how much comes from like a specific anime and manga series?
I'd say more traditional fantasy. When I was younger, I used to watch Sci-Fi Channel a lot. My favorite movie, and still one of my favorites, but my only favorite when I was a younger kid, was Dragonheart, which I don't know if many people remember that movie, but it was, I remember seeing the dragons in that and just thinking, oh my gosh, and had this flicker of what if, and it hit a chord with me that you really never know if fantasy stuff really exists or not. I mean, sure, it hasn't been proven yet, but you can't really disprove that stuff either. So that's kind of the whole spark for me. That's the allure of fantasy to me, is that, you know, there's no proof that these things never existed, you know, and I always forget the exact phrasing of the quote, but it's like in Lord of the Rings, like, you know, fact turns to tale, tale turns to legend, legend turns to myth, but it all started somewhere. But I loved Dragonheart. I always loved sci-fi movies, and even the really cheesy B and C movies too. And Renaissance Festival had a lot of influence on my interest in going more with fantasy and even medieval kind of stuff like that. I played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in high school, and I still do to this day, though actually I play more Pathfinder now. But yeah, like I like creatures and monsters. I like the idea of bringing something to life and making people go, what if? And just making them go, how did you do that? And I remember when I was in middle school, I was in 7th grade talking to my science teacher, and I was working on one of my art projects in science class, and she was like, come on, you need to be working on science stuff in here. And I was like, but I want to do this is fun. And she was like, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, I want to make dragons. And she was like, how are you going to do that? And I was like, okay, well, I got 2 options here. I can either go the art route and be a 3D animator or an artist of some sort and draw dragons, or I can become a genetical engineer and combine the genes of lizards and bats and make dragons. So she ended up giving, since I didn't do that assignment in class, she gave me an alternate assignment, which was an assignment on genetics and alleles and things like that, and a research paper. So that was really fun. So I guess I kind of convinced me to do my science homework. But I ended up going with art instead, because I did it more, I enjoyed it more, and what I specifically wanted to do kind of evolved, but I always kind of dipped into every pool, you know, whether it's illustration, storyboarding, concept art, costumes, you know, all sorts of different things, even a little animation. I like being able to do a lot of things, and I hate the idea of being tied down to one technique or one medium. So that's why I like to keep myself varied. So. Let's see. What part? No, I should have asked this earlier. What parts of the costume didn't you do? I didn't do the leather belt that the chaps, because these are actually chaps, not full over the entire body leggings, which is how I get the easy movement. But the belt that they are attached to, I did not create, but I designed it and I made the blueprint for it. And I had a local leather worker friend of mine actually create the belt for me, but to all of my measurements and my calculations and the way I had blueprinted for it. I didn't make, under, the hoof is attached to what used to be a 5-inch stiletto shoe, and then I had the heel removed from it by a shoe repair guy that lives down the street from me. So I didn't make the shoe that the hoof is built off of, but all the other stuff I did. And I think those are the only two things that I didn't actually oh, the ears too. I forget about having these ears. I got these just from the Renaissance Festival, because who wants to spend $60 to make one pair of ears? I mean, it's just ridiculous. And this staff as well. This staff was a gift from my dad, also from the Ren Fest. He got it for me because I was having a hard time walking in the rocks at the Renaissance Festival with my hooves and the hills and the grass and stuff. And I was like, either buy me a ride in one of those carriages where the guys pull you around, or get me a walking stick. So he got me a walking stick, and it's been, I can't even describe how useful it's been. It's been very useful and helpful to me. So, yeah, so those few things.
What advice can you give to new cosplayers?
Don't limit yourself. If you have something you really want to do, you know, a lot of people, they think start small, and that's good. Okay, if you don't know how to sew at all, maybe make a hat, or, you know, like some gloves or something literally size-wise small. But a lot of people, they think, I don't know how to make a costume, I'm going to start with something really simple, you know, and they may not even necessarily really enjoy or like what they're making. So pick something that you really like and can really get into, and you don't mind taking a long time to do. And also, don't set yourself a deadline for your first costume. Things take time to get it right. And if you take your time and you do your research and you learn all the methods properly, it is possible to get it right the first try, as long as you do your research. I've researched methods for costume making for a few years now before I actually felt that I had the ability to actually start creating things. I looked at the anime and manga cosplay community. I looked at the furry fursuiting community. I looked at the Renaissance Festival, the leatherworking and armor work, and how they work with like foxtails and rabbit pelts, and looked at all different genres of costumes to kind of pull the different methods that they use to kind of pull them together and be able to make what I wanted to make. So that's the other thing to remember too. Don't limit yourself to one genre when you're trying to research whatever it is you're making. You know, even if you're doing a cosplay from an anime, you know, maybe you need to dye a wig. Well, there's really great fur dyeing tutorials that a lot of people don't realize work on wigs as well. So, you know, keep an open mind and dream big, but take your time. Slow and steady wins the race. Do not rush yourself and try and get something done in time for a convention. If you can't finish the shirt for your costume, but your pants look really cool, people are still going to think your pants look cool. They may not know your character, but you can tell them, well, hey, at this next con, hopefully it'll be done. So dream big, enjoy it, and keep an open mind.
Lauren, thank you very much. Appreciate your spending time with us.
You're welcome. I'm glad you had me.
Thanks.